right, so here we are. We're live, so we're going on in 4 minutes. Hello, everybody. We're all fitted in here pretty well.
Yeah,
so
that's not bad.
Hope everyone is doing great.
Good.
On a Monday
okay.
night.
Yeah, come on in.
Did you have to go out of state for Christmas?
Did not have to go out of state. Went out of town.
So Shawn's the only one that had to go out of town.
Had to go back to Kansas.
Yeah, we did Tulsa Christmas, and then yesterday this past weekend we did Kansas Christmas. So
I had to go half mile that way and a half mile that way. So
I'm jealous.
Maybe a mile.
I'm jealous.
To Kansas the weekend before.
What for?
That's where my family is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, all Kansas.
Yeah, we talked about that at football.
I knew Shawn Boy when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Back when he was a
Skinny
little skinny dude.
He was skinnier back then.
I was skinny in college too.
My first
Believe
time
it or
meeting
not.
Shawn wasn't as skinny as I anticipated being a 165 pounder.
Yeah.
And then he got skinnier later down the road. I was like, that's the 65 pounder? What are we doing around here?
I distinctly
I hate
remember.
college.
Oh, it's so hard.
I don't even know if I've told Shawn this. First time I ever saw Shawn wrestle was a duel. And Larry Train, do you remember Larry Train? Owned the tire store, Augusta Tire.
Augusta Tire. Yeah.
And Larry Train was a client of mine and a buddy. And he said, "You want to go watch the duel tonight?" I said, "Sure." So we went up there, and I don't even know what year you were.
Someone comment so I know when they're working. Go ahead.
And
Good.
we're watching your match, and Larry goes, "What do you think of that kid?" I said, "I don't know, but he's a butt kicker. You can tell that already." I mean, you were always a little more intense than everybody else that was out there. You were a very intense kid.
How many pairs of wrestling shoes did you go through a season? Generally 2 to 3?
2 to 3.
So Shawn's big guy, but he's got small feet and would bust through those things about get to Christmas break, get a new set, and then get a new pair for postseason, basically.
You want to know how hungry I was in college when I got done wrestling. I wrestled in an 8.5 through college. The next year I was a 9.5. The next year I was a 10.5. Now I'm a 12.
And holy crap!
Wow, really?
Your feet have grown that much?
Yeah.
Good Lord! I didn't realize that. I kind of thought the feet stopped growing at some point.
That I did too, but apparently when you starve your body,
Yeah,
your feet
a
don't
lot.
grow.
A lot.
You're not
Too.
getting the nutrients that you need.
Condition your body.
Condition.
That's what we
right,
call it.
Right.
Everything was a lot safer.
I
back
did like
then.
my shoes tight though. I will say
Yeah,
that. I
that's
did
true.
like them.
That's what we call it now, is conditioning.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good stuff. Now, you were an Ardmore boy, right?
Ardmore boy,
2-time runner-up?
2-time runner-up.
Same guy get you?
Same team, different guys.
Different guy.
Where was he from?
El Reno, of course.
Oh,
That was
El
back in
Reno.
the- It was in the El Reno heydays. One was a defending champ. Interestingly enough, probably not a whole lot of probably to it. Would not have been in the state finals as a junior. Number 1 kid at the weight actually came up ineligible at regionals that year, and it kind of switched everything around on the brackets and whatnot. Senior year, wrestled a kid that I'd already beaten twice that year, and he beat me the last 2 times, unfortunately. Just how it goes sometimes.
That's wrestling.
That's wrestling.
It's a cruel sport.
It's brutal. It is a brutal sport. It is just, but it is brutal.
That's what makes these kids that end up being 4-timers, in my opinion, so special.
It's very hard to do.
I mean, it's just one of the most impossible things to do in all of sports. Just crazy hard.
Yeah, that's the kid from Dakota from last year.
Oh, really?
That's it. He was going for his
Oh,
fourth.
that's
He got
right.
beat
Yeah,
by a
that's right.
Got
That's
beat by
right.
a sophomore.
Somebody else had different plans.
He did. He did. He did.
Just hate it when the other guy tries to win too.
I know.
Stinks.
Hate that. Hate that.
I've been spoiled more than I care to admit.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to the High School Huddle Wrestling Edition here on December 29th, 2025. It is Monday night. Christmas break is behind us, so we are officially in wrestling season. So glad you're with us here on our first show of the year, along with the 3-time All-American Shawn Silvis, the Assistant Director for Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activities Association, Mr. Wes Ruth. Thank you for join us.
Thank you for having me today, Chris.
Our special guest. He won't be with us every week, so we're starting off the show with the bang. Of course,
we'll see how this goes.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah,
and of course, you guys need me to.
Of course, Phil Nichols. I'm Chris Evans. We're so glad you're with us here. We're going to do this every Monday night, 6 o'clock throughout the entire season. We'll take you all the way through the dual state tournament and the big state tournament inside the OG&E Coliseum. We'll talk with Wes about that and a whole lot more. So the great thing about this show is your comments. Put your comments down into the in the comment section. Glad to put them on the screen. If you have a question, a comment, glad to talk high school wrestling with you. And excited about this, guys. Of course, if you followed the football season, we're going to try to mirror the same thing, give our student athletes in the wrestling the platform they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, I think, wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports across the nation. It's obviously growing now. Of course, our young ladies have a lot to do with that. It's been an incredible addition, I think, over the last few years, and I like to see that. I like to see that we all do. But I think wrestling, Shawn, we've talked about this numerous times. I mean, football's tough, basketball's hard. I don't know about the baseball guys. That's pretty simple, right? But I mean, they all have their things, right? But there's nothing tougher than wrestling, I think, in all facets. Whether you think about it, 15-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids. My dad used to say, wrestlers are cut different because they're out there basically in their underwear in front of everybody they know, possibly to get their butts whipped. So I think mentally it makes for a much tougher sport than most sports. And then we were talking before we came on the air, it's just a cruel, unforgiving sport. You can. Last year we had a young man going for his fourth state title, and a sophomore got him in the finals. So it's just one of those unforgiving sports.
Yeah, and it's with the sport of wrestling in particular, I played baseball. It's hard if you don't have the skills,
right?
But if you have the skills, it's a fun sport. Football's a lot that way. If you're fast or you're tall or you can, if you got a good arm, again, it's a fun sport if you got the skills. Wrestling, you can have all the skills in the world and it may not matter at all.
Yeah.
It's really a sport where, individuals have to, in real time, figure out where they're at. Yeah. Did I train hard enough? Did I eat right? Did I do things right? And if the answer is no, well, you find out in a really harsh way, and then you get to go back home, see what you can fix, and see if you fixed it right, do it again. And it's an everyday figuring out where you're at. But what's so great about it is a character development. If you can figure out how to be successful at wrestling, you can figure out how to be successful at anything.
Well, and we've talked about this before. Wrestling's also one of those sports, usually within the first 10 to 15 seconds when you lock up with somebody, if you're on the mat, one of the two guys on the mat, you have a pretty good idea.
You know where you're at. You kind of know where you're at.
You kind of know where you're at pretty quick. You're like,
sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, I want to first off thank you for being here and
Glad to be here.
Kind of get a little bit of background. Of course, you're Ardmore boy and wrestled at UCO at the same time.
Wrestled with Shawn right here. It was great. He was a person that I looked up to and got to watch wrestle and watch train and things like that. And he was very skilled, helped me in the wrestling room as well. And it was nice to be able to be a teammate with Shawn. And then now I get to sit here with the show with him and we get to stay connected. And it's pretty great.
Now, were you guys on the national championship team together?
We were on a couple of, I would say.
Were you 03?
I was on the 03 team.
Yeah.
Listen, on the team, I broke my ankle and I was just a body is what it turned into. Next year, your senior year, we unfortunately didn't come away with the title. And then my senior year in 2007, which Shawn was a coach on staff with a bunch of those guys at some point, and we were fortunate enough to win a title then in 2007 as well.
So you and Shawn have met?
Plenty. Plenty. Been on buses and done it all together.
That's awesome.
Wes, how long have you been with the OSSAA now?
So this is year number 4 for me.
Number 4.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Of course, you had some background in principal and other schools and coach. What's some of the things that you didn't see coming when you took that job that you?
Oh, some of the things I didn't see coming.
Yeah. As an outsider, now that you're on the inside.
I didn't have a good grasp on how the process worked as far as rule changes work, how other sports affect other sports. I didn't have a good grasp on those things. I also didn't have a really good grasp on just exactly how it worked and how much service we have for our member schools and things like that, and how much we work for them, and a lot more clear picture after 3+ years of the job.
And of course, your wrestling duties, that's what you love and do, but you've picked up other sports as well.
Absolutely.
And, doing the things I've gotten to do, I never covered swimming. I never covered a bunch of stuff, but now I love going swimming. But another sport is volleyball, which you're a part of now.
Volleyball is a really fast growing sport. We continue to add teams there as well as soccer. So as a general rule in the office, you have a fall, a winter, and a spring sport. Mine just so happens to be volleyball, wrestling, soccer. There are some other duties. So I handle all foreign exchange paperwork for anybody that wants eligibility through foreign exchange. And for the first time this year, I actually have a piece of the alphabet. So I handle a certain part of eligibility for the people for the schools in my part of the alphabet, which is N through R. That has been a challenge, but also really great because I've been able to get a really good understanding of eligibility. But, that is one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing we do. What's the word I use? Polarizing.
Polarizing.
The most polarizing thing that we do in the office for sure.
And everyone gets to see you at the state tournament. That's the fun day. That's the day that, I think
I
most of the time.
I enjoy championships as long as everything's going smooth.
But with that being said, there's so much day-to-day stuff behind those championship events.
For sure. We depend a lot on our member schools whenever we're hosting those championship events, whether it's regionals, whether it's districts, or whether it is dual state. That's being hosted at Tulsa Union this year. I depend heavily on the Tulsa Union athletic department as well as their wrestling program to be able to make it a great event. Couldn't do without him. And then when you work with the OG&E Coliseum and the fairgrounds, we depend on them heavily as well.
So, previous dual states was in the Enid area. Now it's going to the UMAC this year.
Yes. So one of the things that led to that is a couple of years ago, the advisory committee. So each sport has an advisory committee made up of coaches that are elected through their own coaches association. So the Oklahoma Coaches Association has branches. The OWC is the Wrestling Coaches Association. One of the things that that the coaches wanted to do is change our district duels to be a one-day event and change our dual state to be a one-day event. One of the things they didn't like is the extra day of weigh-in. A lot of times they would weigh kids in, wrestle one match, and then be done for the day. They don't want to have the kids weigh in 2 days in a row. They would like to limit the weigh-ins toward the end of the year, so they said let's do districts in one day and do dual state in one day. There's only a couple places in the state where you can fit 8 mats and about 2,500 or 3,000 people in the stands, and that is the UMAC is what it ended up being. And so, fortunately, Danny Jefferson as well as the Union Athletic Department agreed to host that last year. We had some scheduling issues that we got worked out, and it was a great event. And this year, we are prepared and ready to go, and those scheduling issues don't exist, and they're ready to rock. And it was a fantastic event. You're watching 2 classes in the quarters, and then another 2 classes in the quarters, then all 8 semifinals all at once, and then all 4 championships at once. It's fantastic.
Yeah, dual states on February 14th. I know wrestling moms really, really well, so they don't really care about the Valentine's Day. But was that a factor in what day to have dual state?
Never.
Okay.
We go by the weeks of the calendar. So we got an OSSAA calendar. It's got the weeks. That's how we do it. And most wrestling moms, girlfriends, wives, whatever it may be, they just know that postseason's happening around that time. They may just not get the Valentine's that they want. When I was coaching, when it was Valentine's Day, there was a seating meeting. So we had to go the day before. That's just kind of how it goes.
I just realized I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you're in big trouble.
I'm doing dual state this year.
Great way to announce it to the sweetheart.
Thanks, baby.
Most wrestling moms understand what they've walked into.
Yeah. But also, remember, it's Valentine's Day every day at your house.
Every day at the Nichols house. That's Valentine's Day.
Very true.
That's how you get out of it.
Well, it's every day. It's a heavy burden to carry.
What is there any before we kind of get into some nuts and bolts of some other stuff, and Shawn and Phil have questions for you too. Any big changes out there this year? Rule changes? Anything? The first one that comes to mind. You like the 3-point?
I like the 3-point.
Okay,
I'm used to it at this point. College is doing it. We went to it last year. It is. To me, it is promoting scoring. One of the things that we were worried about just from the high school side is if you're in college and you're wrestling, as Shawn knows, everybody's a little bit more skilled, a little bit more better prepared to handle changes, especially a lot of points being given. In high school, that's not the case all the time, and especially in junior high. Junior high is developmental. High school is still developmental in a lot of ways. So there is the stigma that, the high-level guys are getting more points, and they're a lot faster tech balls. Matches are ending quicker, and that development and mat time is going away. It hasn't seemed to, we won't know if that's really affected it till years down the road. That was one of the big things. But as far as the scoring, keeping fans on the same page, it's the best thing.
Lindsay confirms that moms, girlfriends, they don't care where they're on Valentine's Day, long as baby boy's winning or
That's
baby
right.
girl is winning. So
that's right.
That is confirmed there by Lindsay. But any new
There's really no new developments. Okay. We're going to get to talk about the state tournament format. It's going to be very similar to last year, and we can kind of get into the nuts and bolts of that when the time comes. But there's really not going to be a lot of changes. For the dual state schedule, really all we're doing is flip-flopping the classes. So if you were classification that weighed in early and wrestled first last year, you'll go to the second slot, and they'll just flip-flop those, but everything will be kind of rinse and repeat.
Quarters at dual state quarters. The quarters will start at 157. The semis will start at 165, and the finals will start at 175. Was that a coin flip?
That's a coin flip. So we actually, I put in 14 weights on the little spin the wheel on the computer and said, here's weight 1, boom, got it, and then you just go into session from there. So,
hey, before we go any
further, why do we not start at 106?
It's just written in there that we will draw for weights, and it always has been that way. You can kind of mix things up a little bit, and so we've just always drawn for weights. And I asked the advisory committee at some point, do we want to change that? And they said it's a non-factor for them, so we just kind of stay with what's written in the letter.
I'm going to throw a flag on myself and go completely out of order on questions here.
You're good.
Not that with anything staged here, but Mr. Jackson, you get to see him day to day. What at the OSSAA? Just what a
gentleman,
great man he is.
Gentleman.
The best quote I heard, and it was from somebody that sat in this chair before me, is that no matter what the decisions that are made inside of that office, whether you like, dislike, agree, disagree, there's not a person that could sit and say that Mr. Jackson is not a great, great man.
Yeah.
And he's been a fantastic boss for me. He's been a great mentor. Treats me with a lot of respect. He takes my sports very serious, just like he does everybody in the office. But he does a really good job of helping where needed, but not inserting himself into places. He trusts us to do the job, and he's been a fantastic person to work with and just be around daily.
It's just when you see him, you just got to respect. I mean, it's just.
Well, my dad told me when I was a little boy, the best compliment you can give another man is to say he's a good man.
Yeah.
And he is genuinely a good man. He works so hard for the kids and for the schools across the state of Oklahoma, wants everybody to be treated fairly, wants things to be. And listen, it's an impossible job, guys. Yeah. I mean, but boy, it makes it a lot easier when you have a guy that's cut from the cloth like he is. And to be quite frank, everybody I've met at the OSSAA, there's a culture in every organization, and I think that's the culture that's been built throughout it. So.
You talked about a little bit there, Wes, and this is your 4th year doing it, and there's going to be people that don't agree with everything that you do. I don't know how many schools are wrestling nowadays, but if there's 100 of them.
About 178.
178. There's 178 agendas that we want.
Correct.
And your job is to maybe make 150 happy. Maybe you might make 75 happy.
I'd kill for 150.
Exactly. Yeah, it just depends on what it is. But through your leadership, you've been a principal, and you go, how do you manage that? You're going to make this group happy. This group is going to be whatever. Some group don't care. Some group are going to be absolutely just upset.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way to make everybody happy. So and actually for personality traits, that's actually a hard thing for me. But for other people in my office, it's not hard at all. For me, it is a little bit hard, but I have to work constantly at just saying, okay, the job is this. What is the best thing for the sport? What is the best thing in this situation? Gather information from people that you trust, have a core group of people, whether that is coaches that you trust that will give you an honest opinion that is not self-serving, as well as people in the office to bounce some ideas, gather the information, and then do what you think is best for the kids and the sport and what is going to be the best thing overall. It's never going to make everybody happy, but if you can put your head on the bed at night, then you're fine.
Well, and that should be, at the end of the day, it's about the kids.
Yes.
It's not about any of us old people. It's about the kids, making sure that they have a good experience. And like you said, I've always thought the OSSAA is there to protect the integrity of whatever sport they're representing, whatever event that is.
Yes.
Protect the integrity of the sport itself and promote the kids. The whole reason why we started this show is we want to promote the kids and the programs and make it better in the state of Oklahoma. So
when the organization started, my understanding way back when, it was a basketball organization, but it was essentially to govern and create championships for schools and kids.
Yeah.
And it's obviously evolved into a lot of different things, but at its core, it is to provide championship and opportunities for kids.
Yeah.
How's the transfer world look in wrestling? I know basketball. There's a lot in basketball. We've seen a lot in football.
There's plenty in wrestling too.
Plenty in wrestling. Okay.
There's plenty in. It is not immune to those things. I would say of my 3 sports, it is the most. It's probably got the most movement. And it looks about like it did last year. You know, we were in year one of the new transfer rule, which if you guys would like for me to kind of go in depth on that a little bit. So previously when I first got to the office and I wasn't handling eligibility, it was either 5 to 7 different criteria that you could gain eligibility. There was return to home, meaning that if I live in school district A and as a freshman established in school district B, I've got a free return back to school district A where I reside. There was a move amongst divorced parents. There was compelled. There were a lot of different factors. We'd heard a lot of information from legislators. We'd heard a lot of information from people outside of our organization as well as people inside of our organization that maybe it's time that we look at lightening our rules as far as eligibility. So what we went to for the 2024-2025 school year was a one-time free transfer, meaning that no matter where I live, I can establish as a ninth grader at any school that makes me a legal student, and then I get a one-time free change of schools to another school, essentially participating in 2 high schools during your career without penalty. Now, stipulations are you have to continue to reside with the person you established with, there's a few other things that come along with that. But since then, we have processed a lot of waivers, and a lot of kids are they're exercising their right to go and choose another school that they feel is best for them.
You know, you always hear about the ones that are denied.
Correct.
You know, when this happened during football, you know, we took a hard look at that, and it was a ridiculous amount percentage-wise. I don't remember, Chris. Maybe
Upper 90s.
It was upper 90%.
I've got the stats for you if you want it.
Yeah, I would love it.
Early in the process, when you go mid-year, we were somewhere around 97% because everybody's coming in and exercising that, so it's easy. As we've gone through the semester, we've gotten a lot more different situations. So we processed around 1,500 waivers and are approving them at above 90%.
1,500?
1,500, and that is just this semester. 1,500 kids have had an opportunity, and 1,500 kids have applied roughly, and above 90% are being approved.
And the filing period is in the summertime, which is usually your time to kind of relax, but that's now your new busy season.
It has changed how we do business in the office as well as how schools are doing business, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, you know, it's just adjustments, and now it'll become the new norm. But yes, in June 1st is when the OSSAA allows you to start changing schools and applying for schools, and so schools can now start accepting and then starting to process those waivers.
It's a hard thing for an old guy like me to get my arms around. We've talked about this with other sports. Luckily, I never experienced this, but I could be on a 0 for 10 football team, for example, and be a great player, and there was absolutely zero chance that I would want to leave my friends and go play somewhere else. It's just such a different time. Now, that's not saying my time's right and their time's wrong. It's just completely different. It's such a foreign concept to me. To 1 year, you know, this year we saw a young man that lost in the state championship game last year, transferred over the summer, and beat his old school in the state championship game this year with the team that beat him last year. And the whole thing, I'm just sitting there going, what would that feel like?
It's weird.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
It's very weird, and I'm with you. I wasn't raised this way. The rules were different back then, and the social media to me has to have a factor. You are so connected to so many kids across your sport. Shawn, you've got boys in wrestling. They know kids from all over the state all the time. They can keep up on social media, Snapchat, text message, anything. You're FaceTiming, getting to see them now.
Yeah.
You were never able to do those things 15, 20 years ago.
Well, 40 years ago when I was in high school, 40 plus years ago.
You're that old, Phil?
Back in the 1900s.
Wore leather helmets. but I mean, you didn't know people outside of 15-mile radius of the conferences. I'm so old, we had conferences. Mm-hmm. And you knew the guys that you played against or that you wrestled against, but you didn't know anybody else.
You didn't befriend them very much.
You would go to the last person I wanted to be friends with was the guy I was trying to beat.
Yes.
And now they're hanging out the mall together on weekends.
That's what college is for.
There's really no more malls.
There's no more malls.
I mean, there's a couple of them.
Good Lord. I just need to go home and be with Jesus now.
The other thing with transfers, and I think it was Mr. Jackson during the interim study at the Capitol, talked about a lot of kids use their one transfer and I don't like this place.
That's what we're running into. The grass isn't always greener, and then so
still got to mow it.
And so that's a good point. The grass isn't always greener. So you establish at school A, you go to school B because you think that's what you want because something's not going right at school A, and for whatever reason, it's not what you thought it was going to be. Maybe the problems followed you. Maybe it is not what you thought it was, period, or maybe
you were the problem. I'll say it.
Go ahead, Phil.
Maybe you were the problem.
But now we go and we exercise our right, to change schools, and then we want to go back. And then, at times people think it's not fair that you can't go back. And there are legislators out there that believe that there's no way you should be ineligible in the district that you reside. But ultimately the rules are right now is that you get 2, and then you need to know that beforehand. There is a letter that parents and students get when they get an acceptance letter, and one of the last sentences says, any further moves will cause you to be ineligible for 2 semesters. I wish they would read it more. I wish the schools would make sure they understand it. I think our schools do a really good job of letting them know. But ultimately, once you get in a position where you want out of something, they just want to leave and go back.
There's always tough situations, right? I mean, and I know there's situations to where on a personal level, I would assume, putting myself in y'all's situation where I'd go, yeah, but dadgummit, this kid this isn't his fault, but we can't approve it.
Can't.
That's the stuff that makes it hard.
Yes. And when we say no to somebody, 3 people in the office have to say no. So it's not just one person. So one staff member gets it, second staff member gets it. If they're both no's, the boss man has to see every no. He sees every single no, and he has to agree on it as well. If 3 people are seeing it, whether we want to make the kid eligible or not, we are generally following the rules.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hard thing. You got to do things with consistency.
Try to.
And we talked about this earlier this year when there was a very visible, very public, disagreement about some eligibility stuff with some different sports. And I said, the one thing I always fall back on is everybody that's involved in the OSSAA, they've devoted their life to working with kids. There's nobody up there trying to make it hard for kids to participate in a sport they love. But in the real world, there's rules.
Well, 97% of 1,500 applicants.
I
mean, there's rules.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard.
It's difficult, and like I said, it's the most polarizing thing we do.
Yeah,
but it's really since we got through the initial surge, it's been the least amount of time I've spent on things, which is great because all the other stuff is a lot more fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking with OSSAA Assistant Director, Mr. Wes Ruth, appreciate him joining us on the first show of the High School Huddle Wrestling edition here. The other big thing, girls wrestling has exploded. One of the fastest growing sports in Oklahoma, in the country. Yeah. And the numbers get more and more and more. Not quite to the district or to the dual state quite yet. I think we're getting closer, right?
Getting much closer. Much closer. We're looking for a lot more participation, so we want to see those full lineups that people are, fielding at least double digit, if not more. We don't want to see a dual state product where we've got forfeits and things like that a bunch. And I'm not saying we don't see that in the boys, but as a general rule, the boys have been around for years and years and years, and those dual state teams are fielding. They have a minimum or a maximum they can weigh in at 25, but they're showing up with every weight loaded up for the most part, and that's the best product. And when the girls get to there, they're going to have their opportunity as well. It's always interesting.
I was looking at rankings today. McLeod girls 5A. I mean, most sports are 2A, 3A, but 5A in wrestling, and pretty darn good too.
They are good. They are good. Yeah. Coach Winters does a great job down there. I know they've got a new coach this year as well, but McLeod has done a very, very good job at not only promoting girls wrestling, but just being a staple.
Yeah. I guess the schools, you're starting to see more and more schools add on to their wrestling rooms for girls' locker rooms and girls' mats. It's really picking up at a lot of these schools.
Yes. Our schools are in a tough spot. They're trying to keep up, and it's growing fast enough to where it's really hard to keep up. I'm not a school. I serve schools now, but being not in that, I kind of feel for them because you can only keep up. There's only so much money to be had. There's only so much you can do, and they're trying to keep up best they can. So I would just always encourage schools to continue to try to be as forward-thinking as possible, but building spots for coaching staffs and things like that so that, we don't have boys wrestling coaches not double dipping, but over into the girls to where they're not being spread very thin and things like that because that's becoming a challenge in itself. And some of those schools, though, there's just nowhere to build onto. So you're going to have to do, standalones and things like that. And it's hard. It's very difficult, but they're doing their best to keep up.
Now, a question that Chris asked me yesterday, he said, how many years until girls get to dual state? He said 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. Not holding your feet to the fire, but with the growth we're seeing,
we're going to continue
It's
to
a trap. Don't do it.
We're going to continue to look at the numbers. We're going to continue to look at the numbers and see what the growth looks like. So not only just the growth in the girls overall. So my first year, in between year 1 and 2, we had about a 30% growth, which is a lot. Maybe it was 36, I think. And then you fast forward from year 2 to year 3, it was probably closer to about 16%. So I do think it's slowing down a little bit. The initial surge has come. Now it's slowing down. However, with that, there's still more girls wrestling. Lineups are being filled more. So one of the things that I always ask our Coaches Association to look at is give me the data, and I can pull it too, but we look at it together, is at the regional tournaments, when there's going to be 2 regional tournaments per class, how many teams are fielding full lineups? 14. It's not very many. How many are fielding at least double digits? And it's not very many as well. So those are the things we're wanting to look, is that when you get to the postseason and it is time to compete in postseason, because dual state's postseason, how many kids are you putting on the mat? If it's 7 to 8 or 9, that's great, but that's not a dual product. If it's 11, 12, 13, 14, and things like that, that is a dual product.
If you can get, let's say there's 8 teams that can produce full rosters, is that enough to have a dual state?
It isn't just
they qualify based because they have a roster, or does it need to be more than that?
That's been thrown out as an idea. The unfortunate part is that's just not how we handle districts and
Right.
dual championships, and anything that handles districts is that you have to be assigned to districts, you have to go compete, and then you qualify. So it would be something, it would be completely out of not out of character, but just out of our protocol on how we handle dual districts. But that's something that's been thrown out, and something that we're going to discuss again. Like, if we get this thing started, maybe we start there. But again, we're going to have to go out of bounds on what we normally do.
Well, and I think part of the challenge is it's a little bit of the chicken and the egg, right?
Which came first?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to, I think, to get more girls involved, they need to be able to look and say, oh, we have our own locker rooms, we have our own facilities, there's got to be an enticement for a lot of these young ladies to want to jump into a sport that, we all know it traditionally. Now it's changing, but for years it was kind of looked on as, you wrestle.
Yeah.
And that's changing. But I think as you see districts invest more in facilities and things like that, I think you'll have more girls naturally be inclined to come out for those sports. That'll help the numbers, and that's going to take time. It's continuing. Our schools are doing a great job promoting it. I know we had Broken Arrow won the girls Ironman a few weeks ago up in Ohio. Coach Adams does a great job there at Broken Arrow. They do a great job in wrestling all around. They always have. It's pretty great to have good teams on the national level. And it's going to continue to grow. It is. I'm always going to preach patience. My girls' coaches are probably tired of being patient, and I understand that, but we're still going to continue to review the numbers each year and see where we stand.
How does Oklahoma look compared to other states as far as girls wrestling?
We're a little bit behind. So Missouri is a very comparable state, and we're always about a year behind them. So we're going to probably reach the 2,000 threshold this year over that, and Missouri reached it the year before.
Okay.
And so that just generally, when they hit something, we're going to be right behind them in the next year.
Did Missouri have dual state last year?
They do not have.
Okay.
Now,
Are they going to have it this year?
I don't know. I haven't looked that up, but
you guys are relentless.
They are.
Stick with me, buddy. Stick with me.
I'm with you, Phil.
So like a state like Iowa, where
So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I was a little bit intricate because they actually have an OSSAA boys and an OSSAA girls.
Oh, really?
For comparison. So they have different offices running their boys and girls sports, is my understanding.
Okay.
So they actually have they have a me for boys, and then they have a me for girls. I've met her, and she's fantastic, and I've actually leaned on her. So they actually start the wrestling season 2 weeks before the boys, so that they can finish the season early and because they do have to share coaches. The boys and girls side are sharing coaches still, so they have to collaborate.
how many girls in Iowa do you know?
I do not have those numbers off the top of my head.
I'm curious.
But they have the ability to do those things, which is fantastic. They run a great championship, and so I lean on her when I speak to her in summer meetings and things like that, try to figure out what they're doing and how they're navigating.
It's cool to watch. I know in the town that I lived, it came on. It's just in Guthrie. I mean, the numbers have gotten bigger and bigger, and Shawn can speak to it more. But I think it's fantastic, and I think more girls are getting more courage to go out there.
Yeah.
And some of them are really darn good. I remember some of those broken arrow girls, even when first year they started, were like, they've been doing this for a long time. You can tell it wasn't the first time.
Yeah,
obviously having to wrestle guys, but.
Yes, it's they're going to continue to grow. It's they are. There's so many more opportunities now in the winter. Before it's either going to swim or you play basketball. Now you've got something else to do.
Yep.
Even if you're a person that maybe isn't a full-time wrestling person, but you want to stay in shape, you want to figure out healthy life skills.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is a great way to do that.
3,700 young ladies in the state of Iowa.
Boom, there you go.
3,700.
Yeah, and big thank you to Kelly.
Thank you,
Kelly
Appreciate it.
Kelly lets us know that. So thanks,
Kelly.
That's what's great about this show, Wes. Is like we'll talk and people will have information and share with us all the time.
Great.
So man, we can't. That's awesome, Kelly. Thank you for that.
So I've got a question.
Fire
just
away.
Going off the state tournament.
Okay.
And it's one that I've asked myself, and I've had conversations with other coaches and stuff about. But how come the state tournament has to be a 3-day tournament?
Okay, so when I first got there were the old school state tournament going back to the mid 90s. At one point, they changed over they used to have it in Gallagher Hall, and they would wrestle 2 classes on a Thursday night, finish them on a Friday night, and bring in the other 2 classes on Friday, and then finish them on a Saturday. Then at one point, they went to the 4 classes all inside of the Fairgrounds Arena, 8 mats laid out, and that was when you were still in high school. Was when I was in high school, and that started about 97. Don't quote me on that, but very close. And it's been the exact same for 20 plus years, really closer to 25 years. We implemented the girls in a pilot year, then we had the 1 girls class. In my very first year, we had the 1 girls class, and we had 10 mats on the floor so that every classification gets a mat. Gets 2 mats, and then you run the tournament as you always have. You start Friday morning, you go through. When we went to a second girls class, there's nowhere to put that 12th mat. So now something has to change, something has to give. And so what we went to was the original, or not original, but we went to the split sessions where we take the small classes, they wrestled in the morning. Big classes wrestle in the evening. And then we bring everybody together for the finals. The information I got, feedback from coaches, is that they wanted the girls to stay with the boys. They wanted everybody to be together for multiple reasons. So
Probably mainly coaching, I would assume.
A lot of it's coaching.
There's no
A lot of it is coaching.
Coaches are trying to coach both boys and girls at the same time in different days.
Absolutely. And so because you've got those staffs that are shared, it makes sense. So then you keep them together, but there's only so many minutes in the day. And I've got a big formula. The ladies who work track wrestling, as well as some other wrestling people that help with my event, gave me this formula. I plug it in. Here's how many matches we have. Here's how long it's going to take to wrestle this round. Right. There's only so many minutes in the day. So when you add 2 more classifications and that many more matches, that many more athletes, there's nowhere to go. So what do? We've got to go to a 3-day. We went to the 3-day with the split sessions. People didn't like it. I understood. Arena felt empty. They also don't like everybody weighing in 3 days in a row. So we went to last year in year 3 was that we would do wrestle-ins only on Thursday night, and they're the only ones who would weigh in. So now, if you are, you don't have to weigh in 3 days in a row unless you are 4th or 5th place person. And then so we figure out who's going to come in those matches. The other person's out, and now we have an 8-person bracket, and we're back to the old school wrestling an 8-person bracket without the wrestle-ins. And wrestling that in a 2-day format and finishing up on Saturday night. So there's just no way to do it. You can't get 12 mats down, which is also why I changed to what we would call the popcorn system, where you're getting called to a specific mat instead of being or a random mat instead of being assigned to your 2. So everybody knew where to sit. As you remember the state tournament, which I miss. I loved everybody comes in and everybody sits in their corner. It's the 6A corner, it's the 5A corner. Perry and Blackwell over here and Tuttle and everybody over here. It's great.
It only gets rowdy when everybody gets together.
That's right. That's right. And so we've made some changes for this next coming year as well. So instead of making it long way, which I wish I would have had a little bit more forethought, I can admit that, take that one. We're going to put them in pods, and so that you can sit in one end of the arena and still catch all 4 of your matches instead of being at one end and having to run down to the other end. So we're going to change that around, but other than that, format's going to stay the same.
And of course, all that happens inside the OG&E Coliseum, which you've been through multiple times. Had a press conference there a couple months ago. Fantastic facility for
It's fantastic.
What's going to be happening in February.
Yes, it's going to be great. A lot of different things we get to do there. I believe I'm going to be able to put some warm-up mats down there, which I know coaches and wrestlers are going to love. We're going to do a staging area. We're going to keep the floor clear just based off of we've got to have bleachers onto the floor. And if we've got bleachers on the floor, that means people are going to be blocked off seeing if we don't have the floor clear. So we've got some protocols that I put together and still working on to be able to do that. It's going to be different because generally, we've allowed a bunch of people on the floor and it's a mess. For people that booed me last year for stopping wrestling and things like that, we're going to avoid that.
It was
year.
Phil who said it. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
Phil said it in the microphone.
as long
Phil's
as you-
the reason
it's
everyone
not
had
Wes.
to stop wrestling.
I never
Bring
heard Wes
it.
tell me
I'm
that.
good with it too. Me and Phil will take it together.
I looked at Wes. I said, "Shut this down, Wes.
done, man.
This is ridiculous."
done.
Now, as long as you have Clay and I's recliners there this year,
We'll get those.
that's all. I mean, that's what matters the most.
You want yours to be motorized and
Well,
stuff. Absolutely.
I'm elderly man.
Damn stage.
But yes, so we'll have some different things going there. The new arena is going to be great. So there's the top part has like hundreds of bar stools. That's where all of the concession and things are. So generally, if you walk down the tunnels at the old arena, you're blocked off from seeing anything if you're in line for concessions. Now you can catch those. You can look down to the arena floor, and it's going to be great.
And when you walk in, you can go up an escalator.
It's great.
Yeah, there's also, and again, I'm so old. I'm going to miss the old arena.
I am too in some ways. I'm not going to miss the dust.
The dust is,
Or the lights going out.
well, or the power shut. You know what?
Yeah.
Forget it. I'm not going to miss it. Sorry, never mind.
There are things I'll
I'm
miss.
over
The
it.
nostalgia
I'm over
part
it.
I'll miss. Everything else, I'm good with new.
Yeah, but it is going to be exciting times. Clay and I were talking yesterday. Clay's actually my neighbor. He just lives a few doors down from me. And I was out doing some stuff in the yard yesterday. He pulled over and he said, "Hey, are you going to spend the night on Dual State?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I'm not going to." And I didn't know it was Valentine's Day. So I didn't factor that in. But
Hey, reconsider.
I said, "Well, yeah. Well, my wife will probably be going with me."
Yeah.
But I said, we'll just, that'll be great. But it gave us opportunity to talk about the new facility and the nostalgia of the old and all the cool things we've seen there. Last year we had a lot of last. This year we're going to have a lot of first. We're going to get to crown potentially some the first in this building 4-timers.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of cool stuff. And I think there's no fan base like a wrestling fan base.
It's
None.
different.
None. It's different.
Cut from different cloth.
Completely different cloth. I mean, football, somebody yells at each other. Basketball, I kind of go, they're okay. Wrestling, you pay attention to that.
A little bit.
We only got for a few more minutes, but when you were wrestling and people in the stands were like, "Get off your back," did that help you?
Can't hear it. You can't hear it. You cannot hear it. I do everything I can to stay quiet, but you just can't. When you got headgear on, you can't hear any of that stuff.
That's what every time you hear somebody
Stand up.
stand up. So, he knows.
Super simple.
He knows that he needs to stand up.
He's trying.
You
as
see that
hard as he
gorilla
can.
on his
Everything
back?
he can.
He's preventing him from standing up.
Yeah, it's difficult.
The guy on top with goofy ears has something to say.
Yeah,
he has something to
that's
say about
hammering
that.
him right now. Yeah.
Well, the other part was you could see a lot of student athletes compete at the high school level that go on. I mean, UCO is a powerhouse in wrestling.
Yeah.
OSU, obviously, a powerhouse. It's so cool to see these athletes that you make decisions, and we all get to see move on to these big colleges and some small colleges as well. It's just so cool to watch a lot of D1 stuff and see a kid from Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's always fun. I went to the OSU Nebraska duel just a few days ago. That was great. Got to see some Oklahoma kids wrestling there. Yeah. I went to the UCO, one of the UCO duels, UCO versus McKendree, a couple Saturdays ago. Sat front row. Thankful to my alma mater for giving me some good seats, and got to watch a bunch of Oklahoma kids. Some of the kids were on my junior dual teams and stuff like that I coached before. So
I think when I shared this weekend on one of the social medias, and somebody had wrote this article talking about whether you're JUCO, D2, NAIA, D3, it doesn't matter. Division I, wrestling is one of those great equalizers, right? It's one of those great sports that it just doesn't matter.
No.
I asked Shawn this. I said, "Is there anybody you wrestled when you were in college that you kind of knew?" And he goes, "No, I was always just kind of wrestling against myself." That's probably why he was a 2-time national champion.
Correct.
Right? Had a different mindset than everybody else, but because I can remember everybody that whipped my butt.
I can remember I was taking plenty of beatings. Plenty of beatings in my lifetime.
I got one more question. Shawn might have more, but I have a fun question here. And everyone, they're both meaningful, but you like dual state or state tournament? I'm a dual guy because I
want to hear your answer because I was a little bit all over the place.
You guys are true wrestling guys, but
answer.
I get into the dual. I love the team aspect.
When the duels are tight, and you hope that they're going to be, when the duels are tight, it's the most exciting. That Edmund North Stillwater duel coming out in the last match, it's like you can't beat that stuff. But how do you replace the upset in 3A last year? Yeah. And just listening to the crowd, and it'll never be that loud in dual state just because people don't. It's not as many people,
right?
And so it's really hard to weigh. But duels are, and NCAA is going through this right now. Duels are great. They just are great.
But was Marlowe Blackwell not a duel in the state finals?
It was a little bit of a runaway this time, but generally it is. And so my first year it was an absolute knockdown drag out, and it was fantastic. Yeah. It's great. And so if the duels are good, everything is good. And even if they're lopsided scores, if the matches are good, that's what you enjoy.
But I think they kind of bring different elements.
Yeah.
They do. And so they're both great, but I think they're just great in little nuanced ways, little differences. But man, there's something about a 3-day tournament, the buzz, I don't know. It's just, to me, I as pure from wrestling, I like the dual state. I agree. There's nothing more exciting than that. But there is something about the actual tournament.
It's the sounds inside of that arena when something's happening that everybody's got eyes on, and you hear the whole arena get involved. It sounds different than dual state. But watching that dual state go down is very difficult to beat.
And I think at the OG&E Coliseum, it feels like everybody's going to be on top. So I think that place could be even louder than the old arena.
It's going to be loud.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's going to be loud.
For sure.
Last year doing PA with Clay, and that was such an incredibly fun.
We enjoyed having you. And thank you for stepping in for us, and we're glad to have you back again.
I really appreciate that. But it was, I told Chris when he got there, I said, it's the longest 2 days of my life, and I've had an absolute blast. It was just, I was exhausted at the end of every day. And I didn't do, poor Clay, he had to do so much more. It was my first year doing it with him. This year, hopefully, I'll be able to contribute a little bit more than I did last year. But you get caught up in those matches. Even when you're working, you're like, I really want to see what's going on in mat 4. And you're kind of trying to look around. It's just a buzz that's undescribable.
There really is.
That's the beauty of I was telling Chris that question he asked you earlier. For me as a wrestler, when you win a tournament, it goes on a record, people talk about the win. You maybe remember the finals or something like that. But as a fan, the duels, I was never a wrestling fan until 2 or 3 years ago when I started calling duels.
Yeah.
And now, the state finals is where that's some of the most fun I have in the whole season.
Yes.
And it's like a dual format.
It's like a dual format.
But every match matters so much. It's the state stinking finals. It's so much fun as a fan, that finals. Tournaments as a fan are long and they're all day, like you were saying. But, man, when it comes down to the wire, that last, and that's kind of, as a fan, how duels are. They're, even if it's just a duel in the gym down here in Guthrie, it gets pretty rowdy. It gets pretty fun. Everyone starts because all the focus is kind of on that. It's a lot of fun.
Well, every match matters.
Yeah.
Infantry says the combo works too. Top 3 4-team awards, top 6 8 individuals, except Little Rock High School Colton Invitational 16 matches with 32 teams. Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Shawn, you got any more hard-hitting questions for?
I don't know that they're hard-hitting, just questions I always have.
Never mind then.
You'll learn, Shawn. You'll learn.
I got a hard-hitting question for you, Wes. No,
I'm ready.
So the district pairings, I've always wondered. I know Guthrie recently jumped to a different district.
Okay.
How do you guys determine that? Is that a coach's thing? Is that what determines the district pairing?
Much like our advisory committee, we go through the OWCA, and they put together what is a redistricting committee. So being a former coach, sitting in there, I've been on a redistricting committee. I've also been on an all-state committee with them. Never got to serve in advisory. So they put together throughout the year, or every 2 years, they'll put together a redistrict committee. There'll be representation from the east side and the west side of each classification, and then they will do all the research. They've even come up with kind of I won't call it an algorithm, but they've got a formula where they're entering like what they're bringing back the next year and kind of ranking them and then spreading them out. You want to do it as geographically as possible, but that's not always the best thing to make sure you get the most balanced district. So they do their best. And as a general rule, unless I see something that is completely out of bounds, whatever the coaches suggest is what we approve.
So the coaches are the ones that,
Yes, coaches
that are on the redistricting committee.
That is correct.
I got you.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is our coaches, and they're putting it together. Listen, the coaches know this. I'm a pencil pusher these days. Right. The coaches know who the best guys are. They know who the best teams are. They know about the movement that's happening or could be happening, things like that. So,
is the idea just to separate the best teams?
The
to
goal,
make it more fair.
The goal is to stay away from Toto's district.
That is, if you're 4A, it is for sure.
And then I have to give you 25 reasons why I don't need to be in this district. I need to be in this district.
The kind of
and then you go, no, that's not true, Chris. That's you're going to Toto's district.
Good luck down there.
Yeah.
The kind of unspoken is the west side has districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and the east side has districts 5, 6, 7, 8. And you want your best. Your best is in district 1, second best west side district 2, so on and so forth. And you work their way through. Now sometimes the east can come over to the west, and the west can go to the east. Just depends. And as long as they're trying to separate, the best idea is to find your best 8 teams and make sure they're all in a different district.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, to make sure that you can hopefully get your best 8 teams to the.
And it's every 2 years.
Every 2 years, yes.
And then wrestling, I know softball. They once the regionals are done, they reseed them. Do they reseed in wrestling? Or is District 1 match up with District 8?
So we do seed. So we do it similar to volleyball. So what we'll do is we have a seeding criteria. One is going to be obviously head to head. So if I think I'm the 1 seed, but I've taken a loss to this other team over here, that team's going to go in front of me in a dual setting. Number 2 is going to be record against common opponent. A lot of times that data isn't there. And then number 3, and what it generally falls to, it's going to be final 3 rankings. So it used to be Final 5. We moved that to Final 3. So there are these Final 3 rankings plus the 8 dual district or the 8 dual district champions are going to vote at the end as well. And then all those points are going to go in, and that's going to basically give you a 1 through 8 ranking. Gotcha. And then if we can't figure it out in the first 2 criteria, we go there. 4th criteria is going to be placement in tournaments after January 1st. And then 5th is a coach's vote. Something we implemented last year is that we seed all the tournaments. Used to be just the person in my office, me, and the person before me would sit down and they'd go through the information and do it themselves. Mm-hmm. I found that we need to get coaches involved, and they need to know what's going on. And as far as voting is concerned, so we do a Zoom seating meeting with the head coaches for every classification. We make sure that we're on the same page, even if we don't disagree, that we're following the protocol, and then we seed it and we're good to go.
Awesome.
And that's the seeding for district.
That's the seeding for dual state.
Cool.
Once you've won your district, now we're going to seed you for the dual state tournament.
Now, what's the difference between that and how regionals is determined? Like, for what teams go to the regional tournament for big state?
Regionals is going to be based on a lot of different factors. Number 1 is going to be the ranking. So we look at the Final 5 for regionals, the ranking all year, and you want to be able to separate. So I'm sitting here looking right now. Edmond, North, and Stillwater ranked 1 and 2 and 6A. The idea is going to be separate those guys. Okay, unless you just absolutely cannot. And then you want to balance. A goal of mine is to always have a 5 and 5 split in the top 10 and an 8 and 7 split in the top 15. And I get to see past 15 to 16 and so on. So if I can get an 8 and 8 split on those regionals, that's what I'm going for. Now, what happens is if the rankings are not accurate, if coaches are not doing their best job, or if they are not doing their research, whatever it may be, if they're being negligent in in their rankings and things like that, it's going to affect us because number 10 could actually be the number 6 team, and that's really going to affect where they go and how they're separated. Right. We have to not have to, but we try to, for our school's sake, take geographics into play as well, because I don't need Bixby traveling down the highway passing Mustang going to a different district. What's the point of that? Yeah. But at some point, if you want to have the most balanced regionals, that may have to happen. Right. We just try to avoid it if we can, and just all those different factors come into play. Something that people have always wondered, and it doesn't come into play, is we don't look at individuals.
That was going to be a question I had.
We don't look at individuals. So there may be the chance where the 3 best kids in the weight are all in the same regional. Yeah. Well, good news is they're going to separate from each other at the state tournament for the most part, so you just go from there.
They can figure it out.
They can figure it out. Yep.
But the regional seedings comes down to teams.
It's going to come down to teams, and it's going to come down to those coaches' rankings, which is why it's really important for those coaches to rank every week and do their homework. Yeah. So.
So it look weird if I ranked Stillwater number 7 in my rankings?
It would look odd.
Okay.
Based on what I'm seeing here, I haven't looked that closely at him so far. Based on what I'm seeing here, it would look really odd.
Okay. I think Tuttle's pretty good at 3-team.
Yeah, there you go.
3 spot. At 3 spot. Yeah,
Three spot.
I think so.
Yep.
So, well, Wes, man, we appreciate we spent 50 minutes with this. Is more than we ever thought, but man, we appreciate you in studio for our first show. Again, we're going to do this every Monday night, not with Wes, but hopefully we'll have him on maybe one more time before the season. So appreciate you stopping by and talking your head off there for a little bit.
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Awesome. I like talking wrestling. I love anything we can do to promote the sport. I thank you guys for even putting this together. And again, just to be able to promote the sport, get information out. And then if I get to come back next month or something like that, I'd be glad to sit down and talk shop again.
We love it.
All right. Thanks for reaching out, man. Yeah.
Wes Ruth of the OSSAA, Assistant Director of Wrestling, Volleyball, Soccer. That's right, soccer. Did you know anything about soccer before coming to the
Not
OSSAA?
much.
Okay, man,
not much.
That's why we're friends.
You probably teach me some things about soccer.
I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot, that's for sure.
All right. We're going to take a break, come back, and we'll start talking about some of the teams and wrestlers this year here on the High School Huddle. Back after this.
What? Mom? Mom, wake up. What happened?
It's this window estimate. We can't afford this.
I thought you already called Red River windows.
I know. Red River does have the best looking, most energy efficient windows.
Mom, what are we waiting for? Let's call Red River.
Are you ready to secure your legacy? At Black Oak Alliance, we understand that your hard work has built a future for yourself and your family. Our team of expert advisors is here to guide you through estate planning, helping you protect your assets, minimize taxes, and ensure your family's financial security. Black Oak Alliance has the experience and expertise to tailor a plan just for you. Schedule a no-cost consultation today. Visit us online at blackoakalliance.com or 405-724-6328. Black Oak Alliance, protecting your legacy.
For centuries, it was a windswept prairie until the run of '89 saw settlers scramble for land and life in a newborn town. As Oklahoma's territorial capital, Guthrie, Bank First is loyal to the preservation movement that reclaimed Oklahoma's first state capital. And we're loyal to the banking legacy born at the corner of First and Oklahoma streets. Bank First, loyal to Oklahoma, loyal to you.
At Mosquito Pest Authority, our job is to keep you pest-free. Our signature mosquito control service and pest-proof barrier 360 service ensures that you aren't bothered by mosquitoes outside or pests inside. That's right, 2 brands, 2 services, only 1 visit needed. Don't believe us? We guarantee it, or we'll come back at no charge to you. No mosquitoes, no pests, no contracts, guaranteed. Call Ronnie and Sarah Phillips today at 405-916-0471. And welcome back to Phil's first show.
My first show.
I need help, and
I can't reach, but I can't stop. Making fun.
All right, welcome back into the show, Shawn, Silvis, Phil Nichols, Chris
Why is
Evans.
Shawn not wearing a singlet?
Why? I don't know.
You do not want that, Phil.
You kind of do. I kind of do. I think as we get into predictions and stuff, I know we're going to do a lot of fun things throughout the year.
Right.
I think at the end of the year, whoever finishes last has to wear a singlet.
Do the last show in a singlet. That's a terrible idea.
I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
I got a feeling he's gonna be
Someone would need a tan
all year.
You would need a tan,
boy.
so you would
tan.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Nobody cares.
Uniform.
If you wear a singlet,
If you
little
look-
things like a tan don't bother.
I'm talking
you.
about if we we would never do it, but if all 3 of us one of us had to wear a singlet.
We mean we're not gonna. No, we're gonna do that. Whoever finishes last has to wear a singlet.
Oh boy,
during the last
I'm
show.
gonna have to get a bigger monitor up here. You can see my straps.
We brought up, I think it was Phil brought up when we had Wes. Big thank you to Wes too, man. We offered him to be on Zoom if he wanted to come out on Zoom call. That way he didn't have to come to our studio, but he was willing to come down here and be in person, which is awesome for our first show.
Yeah, for sure.
And I appreciated the answer. There's a lot of questions on the 3-day, for example, and how's this? Why does it do this way? And so anytime we can clarify on just how the behind the scenes stuff really works. I think that's important. I think it answers questions for folks and just gives more understanding for why.
And I'm glad he was honest, because I'm the same way as he is that you want to people please. You want to try and make everybody happy, but in that role, there's absolutely no way that can happen. And so he's having to, learn that process. I think in his spot, he'll learn that pretty quick, just like
pulling the curtain back a little bit. Like, I'm not just doing this because that's what I think.
Right.
There's rules here. There's a bunch of us trying to put stuff together.
Process
between the coaches and the team and this and that. So
it's a process.
I think it's very transparent.
Yes.
Absolutely. Here on the High School Huddle, we have pictures and photos try to have different photos every single week. So if you have a photo that you like to have displayed here on the High School Huddle, email us, highschoolhuddle@gmail.com, and we'd love to put your picture behind us every single week. And this one right here, I think Phil brought up with Wes. The last thing that happened here, happened here. First will be in the OG Coliseum. Well, photo right there, that is Jace Williams, the state champion from Elgin, now at Navy, playing some football over there. But that's the photo from the last match of the state inside the State Fair Arena. So that's compliments. I actually took that photo, but we want photos like that or very similar to that we can display all season long.
I think Jace was a two-timer, wasn't he?
I think that's right.
He's a two-timer.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
He
could probably do a little more wrestling up at there in Annapolis if he wanted to. He might be enjoying just there's a lot.
I'm sure someone can get him another pair of wrestling shoes.
Well, being a midshipman, playing Division I football, his plate might be a little full already.
Lightweight.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a cool photo. Glad able to capture that. And we'll definitely have your photos throughout the year as well. So, I was doing some research, and it looks like if you win dual, we're going back and forth on dual state and state tournament. It looks like if you win dual state, the odds of you winning the state tournament are pretty darn good.
If you're winning dual state, you've got a team full of good wrestlers.
You're step
and
up.
So whether it be dual or tournament format, it's a good sign.
The one different that I found is in 21 Class 6A, Mustang won the 21 dual state, but Stillwater won the state tournament. And then in 5A, Skytook won won dual state in 2020 and 2021, but Collinsville won it in 20 and 21. So it does happen, but not very often as of late.
Well, and there are teams too. I mean, some schools are built better for duels than they are for tournament. Wrestling. So,
I know. A lot of times you'll see teams pulling upset in a duel, like, if it's a duel at our high school on a Tuesday night kind of thing. But normally the teams that are stacked top to bottom, they're not bumping a kid up to try to get a win. They're not forfeiting a weight because they're light there. They're not going to forfeit the weight but there's not a lot of movement on a good team.
Yeah.
You're solid at every weight, and that translates over to tournaments as well. So, a team that might be able to bump a few kids around to win a duel, well, now when they go back to a tournament, they're at the regular weights. Well, the results can be different. A team like an Edmond North or a Stillwater, they're solid at every weight. They're going to be a good team no matter what.
Well, are we counting down to Edmond Stillwater? Is that what's going to happen? Are we counting down to Tuttle to another one, Blackwell to? Although 5A, of all the four classes on the boys' side, it looks like 5A might be the one that's open to everybody. You can kind of say Stillwater, Edmond North. You can kind of go Tuttle. You can kind of go Blackwell.
You got Coweta. In 5A, that's
Chickasha's defending state champions.
I would have said at the beginning of the year, 5A is probably the most open, and I say that. 4A is pretty top heavy, 6A is pretty top heavy, 3A is pretty top heavy. Those are pretty. There's going to be a couple of teams win that, and going into 5A, it seemed pretty wide open. But boy, Coweta is just. You go through their lineup; they've got kids ranked at everywhere. There's 13 kids ranked on that team, and compared to the rest of the field, it seems like they're a definite front runner for sure.
I think, you got Coweta's, Chickasha, Carl Albert, Elgin's going to make a little noise.
And Carl Albert out of nowhere, going through their lineup, they were 10th last year. Now they're ranked second based on point. They're that team's kind of coming out of nowhere. And
had a pretty good showing at the Perry Tournament of Champions earlier this month.
I guess they're ranked 4, but they're a solid team that really, based on the results of last year, is definitely moving up in those rankings for sure.
So, and we'll have those rankings coming up here in just a few moments here in our next segment that we definitely want to bring up. But guys, here we are, and we're going to 25-26 season. And I had to look back. The last time the Perry Maroons won a state tournament was back in 2019.
Yeah.
And so the one thing, and as we go on this show, you'll realize that I'm the guy that's kind of learning. I really didn't pay attention to a whole lot of wrestling till around 2014-ish, and I was still learning the sport, which is awesome. These guys know a whole lot more than I do. But is it come down to the coach? Is that a big part of success? Because here's how my mind works. Perry had a coach, and they won. Collinsville, I forget his name, but he went to Salina afterwards. Collinsville, win. It's just, Tuttle, win. Is it El Reno? El Reno went through a spurt where they couldn't lose anything in wrestling. Coach or somebody goes away, and then they couldn't win anything. Then someone comes back, and they start winning again. Is it about coaching?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have great wrestlers that are on teams that are average. That just like you have great football players on average teams, But when it comes to building a culture, creating an environment that people want to come to and get better, like we've been talking all night, wrestling's a tough sport. But to keep kids in it from the time they're 4 years old, that are still wrestling when they're 18 years old and still enjoying it, still getting better, that comes from the top down. It's got to be – you don't see at any level a team accidentally win a state title on an off year. It's always a build. It's always it's a coach. It's a culture. It's an environment. There's a plan that everybody gets behind, and that's when the dynasties are built.
Well, and I think wrestling more than any sport – coaching matters in all sports.
Correct, sure.
Okay. But I think it's really magnified in wrestling. And I think it has as much to do with the culture as teaching the sport of wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it's a mindset. I think everything in life is a mindset. If you're going to be great in business, you're going to have a good mindset. If you're going to be great as a teacher, classroom teacher, you're going to have a great mindset. So I think it all starts there. And listen, it's hard. There's been some great wrestlers that have went back to try to be coaches that have failed miserably.
Yep.
I mean, and that happens in every sport, but I think it's more shocking in wrestling because you'll see somebody that was a 4-timer in high school and maybe was a 2 or 3-time All-American in college, and then they try their hand at wrestling, at coaching, and it just doesn't happen at that level, right? So, to me, coaching wrestling is the toughest draw that there is in any sport. I just think it's a grind. It's not a sport that, you got to love wrestling to really follow wrestling, right? Most people that follow they're just in there for a little period of time. You got those families that started in Little League and they'll do it all the way through high school. Some will keep going on through college. Very select few will go beyond that. But for the most part, a lot of these kids get involved in wrestling later in life. I mean, they might they might participate in Little League wrestling. A lot of kids do, but a lot of kids quit at the end of Little League and they don't continue it on through junior high or high school. A lot of kids were real competitive in Little League. They just decide it's not for them. Usually, the reason it's not for them, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's a freaking hard sport. So people just don't want to continue going. I think that's where that culture and that mindset with the coaches really matters.
Yeah, and there's, you said something. It's, every coach has the same playbook in wrestling. Yep. Moves are moves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's not like you run a new offense that no one's aware of. I mean, wrestling does evolve, it does change, and good coaches will change with that. But at the end of the day, they all have the same playbook. They have access to the same things, and so coaches most of the time were wrestlers themselves. But they have to learn how to adapt to different kids. They have to learn how to adapt to a different set of parents, to a different set of, circumstances. And I heard, Kyle Dake, who's a 4-time NCAA champion, and Cale Sanderson, 4-time NCAA champion, they both said it in the same conference or in the same press conference years ago that wrestling has to be fun. And for them, they're 4-time state champions. It's still fun. And somehow to make such a difficult sport fun
is a trick.
It does involve winning. You have to win to have fun. You have to, but a good coach is going to find a way to get the most out of their athletes and make them want to come back for more.
And that's what infantry says. Part of it, what he says, the last one, plus fun.
Yep.
What's that? What's fun? I mean,
winning is fun.
Yeah.
But to get to the point of winning, you have to get through all the tough stuff. So what makes you want to come back? A good coach is gonna. It's almost like a fishing lure. You know, you just got to keep that. If you want to get that bass to get into the boat, he's got to keep following, keep coming back. He's got to get a taste. He's got to get a piece of it. And a good coach knows what he's looking at. Not every athlete's the same. You know, one kid may need motivated differently than other, and a coach that works hard to try to figure that out is a good coach, and they're hard to find.
Yeah, very hard.
All right, we need to catch up on one of our breaks here. We went long with Wes, which was planned, and I do have another question that I want to throw at you guys. I also want to take a look at some top 5 rankings in each of the classes that we have, and also some of the wrestlers to look forward to this year, as this is our first show on every Monday night. So again, this is really heavy on the viewers to put your questions and comments, and when we start breaking these teams down and these wrestlers down, you got to let us know where you're from. It really helps us out. Like earlier, I think her name was Kelly, let us know there was X amount of wrestlers in Iowa. So that's a big part of the show. So I got another question that I will have for you guys, plus the top 5 rankings for the 4 boys classes and the 2 girls as well. This is the High School Huddle. Back in 2 minutes.
For centuries, it was a windswept prairie until the run of '89 saw settlers scramble for land and life in a newborn town as Oklahoma's territorial capital, Guthrie. Bank First is loyal to the preservation movement that reclaimed Oklahoma's first state capital. And we're loyal to the banking legacy born at the corner of First and Oklahoma streets. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
At Mosquito and Pest Authority, our job is to keep you pest-free. Our signature mosquito control service and pest-proof barrier 360 service ensures that you aren't bothered by mosquitoes outside or pests inside. That's right, 2 brands, 2 services, only 1 visit needed. Don't believe us? We guarantee it, or we'll come back at no charge to you. No mosquitoes, no pests, no contracts, guaranteed. Call Ronnie and Sarah Phillips today at 405-916-0471.
Are you ready to secure your legacy? At Black Oak Alliance, we understand that your hard work has built a future for yourself and your family. Our team of expert advisors is here to guide you through estate planning, helping you protect your assets, minimize taxes, and ensure your family's financial security. Black Oak Alliance has the experience and expertise to tailor a plan just for you. Schedule a no-cost consultation today. Visit us online at blackoakalliance.com or 405-724-6328. Black Oak Alliance, protecting your legacy.
Porch pirates come in many forms. When damaging hail and windstorms hit Oklahomans, non-registered and unqualified roofers flood the neighborhoods. And unsuspecting Oklahomans think they can trust these guys because they have a nice truck. Oklahoma owned for over 2 decades, Red River Roofing Siding and Windows is top level trained and certified by the best manufacturers. Red River Roofing Siding and Windows, protecting Oklahoma families 1 roof at a time.
Welcome back inside the High School Huddle. Shawn, Silvis, Phil Nichols, Chris Evans with you. We are going till the show ends. We don't know what time that will be. So it's gone a little bit longer. Of course, we had Ruth on here, and we'll have guests every single week. Hopefully we'll have officials.
Yep.
We'll have some coaches for sure, and maybe we can
Yep.
get a student athlete or 2 on here as well throughout the year. So
be good.
That's going to be our big part of our show, I think, is to have multiple interviews. And, Wes, we want to get him on with all the background information, but we might have a couple interviews each Monday night. So if you have an idea who we should speak with, let us know. We'll be glad to do that. Okay, let's take a look at the rankings here. This is for December the end of December here. We're this Monday night, December 29th. So we'll start with Class 6A and work our way down to Class 3A. But let's look at the 6A boys rankings. And there they are. Number 1, Edmond North. Number 2, Stillwater. And some folks might have Stillwater number 1. Some folks might have Edmond North number 1. Right now, Edmond North is the number 1 spot.
You mean Shawn and I when you say some folks?
Bixby number 3, Mustang number 4, and Broken Arrow at number 5. Broken Arrow, man, boys and girls, they've always seemed to be solid every single year. I know there's some heavyweights in front of them, But man, Broken Arrow has been so steady, so
Yeah,
good.
with Stillwater and Edmond being so good, it's just a little bit abnormal for they've got great teams. It's just maybe not excellent, and that's kind of what they're up against.
Now, Stillwater, I would certainly think would have some advantages. They got a college over there called Oklahoma State University.
They've got an academy too.
They got an
farm?
academy over there. So I mean, there's
A couple of Olympians walking around.
Oh, heck, there's a Hall of Fame, Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's right.
At Stillwater. So definitely nice to have in your backyard.
Yeah, I would say this though for Edmond North, just the staff they have and the guys around their Little League program, which is basically their farm.
Yeah.
And then they've got quite the thing building over there as well. They've got an Olympian in their room. They've got a
Legit.
yeah, it's definitely a legitimate contender as well.
Yeah, and I think when you come down the rankings, is it Stillwater 1? Is it Edmond North 1? I think that's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You can just throw it in the air and guess. It comes down to personal preference. I don't have a problem with either one of those teams being ranked 1 or 2. At this point, the great thing about wrestling, it'll take care of itself.
Yeah.
Stillwater is the defending champions too.
Yeah, for sure. Now the way they do those votes, the coaches' votes, they'll basically take all the coaches rank everybody 1 through 15. The coaches will rank the top 15, and whoever they think is number 1 will get 15 points. Whoever they think is number 2 gets 14 points, so on and so forth. They tally them all up, and whoever gets the most points wins. And it's 175 to 174,
Fairly close.
So
based on the coaches' opinions of which team is better.
So the coaches' rankings, they have a little 6 to the side for Edmond North, a 5 by Stillwater. Is that first place votes?
Yes.
So
Yes.
only 12 coaches get to vote?
Well, however many are in, it's like Wes said, if the coaches participate and do what they should,
Gotcha.
They're gonna.
So 12 coaches.
Yeah, I think every week. I don't quote me on this, but they're supposed to be calling. They're not calling in, but they have a website they go to do their due diligence and to do their voting. And as of the 22nd, that's how many coaches actually.
Why
voted.
does mine look different than yours? Oh, you're on duels. You guys are on duel.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
These are duels.
Yep.
So yeah, and really, if you look at the duels versus just the tournament,
Yep.
they flip flop, but the score is the same,
Right.
175
Yeah,
to
they do.
174.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the coaches agree that these are a neck and neck team. Yeah.
And so that's why I went with the duels, because they will go head to head.
No,
So
no,
that's-
I got it.
Yeah.
Which if you are a wrestling fan, that's not a duel you want to miss.
No.
You know, you
That'd be
tune
big
into
time.
whoever's broadcasting that, because that is every year those two compete. It is a great
will they
time.
meet in the regular season?
I don't see that they do.
Oh, that stinks.
But dual state, they will most likely both
Yeah.
make the finals.
Yeah.
what happens if they're on the same side? Surely they won't.
They won't be on the same side.
They'll figure that out.
T. Fred is in the house. I can't wait to hear what T. Fred has to say about wrestling. I'm looking forward to the knowledge that T. Fred will bring to us here. By the way, Bixby did get 1 first place vote.
Wonder who that was.
So, all right, let's take a look at the Class 5A boys rankings. There they are. Number 1, so we can have a conversation on this one here. Number 1, Coweta. Number 2, Chickasha, the defending state champions. Number 3, Claremore. Number 4, Carl Albert. And number 5, the Elgin Owls. Of course, Elgin won some state championships, back-to-back state championships in 24 and 23. And so there they are again. But back and forth on this one, guys. Coweta got 6 first place votes. Chickasha got 1. Carl Albert got 1 first place vote. So Coweta 118 points, Chickasha 111, Claremore 92 points. So very, very close.
Yeah, and there's going into especially like when we're talking duels and dual state, that semifinal round is going to be fun. If you look at the way these points are sitting, that first round of the tournament is probably going to be pretty determined. But that second round, that semifinal round of that tournament,
Wild cards.
It's going to get into some. That's what we talked about earlier, finagling the teams around. That's where those coaches are going to be looking at matchups. And we talked about earlier, what's better, the tournament format, the dual format? Well, the coaches will work a lot harder on a dual night than they will at a state tournament because, they're trying to finagle weights. They're trying to find a way to win. They're trying to do math, and they could either look like a hero or they can look like a complete fool.
Yeah.
And that's when those get fun. But then, coming down to the finals, it's going to be any man's game, even though, Coweta's looking like a clear favorite. But I think the head-to-head matchups, they are still young enough. other teams could pull upsets against some of their studs.
Well, Chickasha, obviously, one of those schools that could make a lot of noise there. I mean, you look at the top 5, Elgin, Carl Albert, Claremore, Chickasha, or Coweta, any of those are capable.
Yeah, it's the wild card this year might be Carl Albert.
Could be Carl Albert. The fun thing about this, I look at the Coweta class, it's junior heavy. The Chickasha class is junior heavy. Claremore, we saw Guthrie duel Claremore, and they've got a very solid team. But really, Guthrie ranked in number 6 gave them a match. And
Guthrie was outside the top 10, maybe top 15 early on. Now they're at number 6.
But the great thing, Guthrie's a junior heavy class. Yeah. The top teams are all junior heavy, it seems like, which really, I mean, it's any man's game at that point. A lot of these kids have stepped up. How much more will they step up by the time we get to postseason? It could be a lot of fun.
Well, and you make a real, I think, a key point here. Postseason. I mean, that's when it matters.
Yep.
That's when, a lot of the work you're doing now is about getting in the weights, getting certified, doing all the different things, but man, when it comes down to dual state time, to tournament time, you'll see a lot of movement.
Yeah, and again, Elgin's sitting at number 5. I'd never count out Elgin.
No.
I know their coach personally, and he will have his boys ready to roll. He's a very good coach who's very specific with his athletes, and he'll know who he's up against. Another one that's going to be fun come postseason.
Do you have to pull into by the cemetery to get to the Elgin? You have to.
That's cemetery. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
It's about intimidation.
Is that a real cemetery? I think that's real. Is that pretend?
I haven't been there after. You guys have been there after dark. I've just driven by.
I'm a grown man, scared to death to go down there after dark.
Class 4A rankings, totals number 1. Moving on. I really think, although I will say that, we'll look at them here in a second. Tuttle, not a unanimous number 1, by the way. 4A boys rankings, Tuttle number 1. It is Bristow number 2. It is Fort Gibson number 3, Cache number 4, and Cushing number 5. Of course, I'm not breaking any news. You guys know this, but I think it's worth stating here. Tuttle has won 16 straight dual state championships and 17 straight state tournaments championships.
So they're pretty good.
So pretty darn good. And what's the secret sauce in Tuttle, Oklahoma?
We talked about it earlier. Coaching has mattered, and they've had a stable of excellent coaches. Obviously, the program is established. Maintaining that momentum is not easy. You can't just hire anyone to keep a team together, but it just seems like
Perry ran into that.
Yeah. They haven't missed in the last 3 or 4 hires. I can tell you that they've been a dynasty for a long time. But when it comes to you gotta have talent. That matters the most. You can't win a Kentucky Derby without a thoroughbred, and they got a stable full of them. They've got a Little League program that's been feeding them for years. They've got facilities. They've got coaching, and it's not just at the high school level, but all the way down.
We talked about that Little League programs. Those matter.
Yeah,
those matter in a big way.
They're 100+ kids in their Little League every year, year in, year out. They're just building this team from the ground up, and now that it's established, they're just keeping that momentum rolling.
So help me out. Okay, there's no other way to say it. With the transfer, Tuttle, we've seen Tuttle football bring in a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers, a lineman. How does this? I would certainly think if you're one of the best, you want to go to Tuttle. I mean, how does that look on the wrestling side?
It looks. I mean, it would look the same, but the difference with Tuttle wrestling, they're close enough to the city that their Little League program gets kids that don't live in Tuttle that wrestle for their program.
Yeah.
Because let's say you've got a son, little Johnny, that's 90 pounds and he's 8 years old. Well, at his club, there's no other 90-pounders his size, and we drive 20 minutes to go to practice every day. Well, if we drive 30 minutes, there's 4 kids that are 90 pounds his age, his weight. We can go to Tuttle and get it's a better room.
Yeah.
We can get more competition.
Better.
So now he wrestles with these 4 kids for the next 3 or 4 years, and high school rolls around. Well, why don't we just move to Tuttle? It's only 20 minutes away, and so there's that happens a lot in wrestling. Parents, especially clubs that are closer to a city, they'll move because they can still keep the same job. They can move to get in the right. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but it happens often enough. You know, we see it at other schools. There's no reason to think it don't happen at Tuttle either. You know?
Infantry says tremendous USA/WA program. Yes, matters. The other part, and we've talked about this during the football season, the Tri-City area with Newcastle, Blanchard, and Tuttle, but don't forget Mustang's just on the other side. Those school boundaries back up to each other, and Mustang is a 6A, very good program, and 6A too. There's a lot of kids in that area. And
Coach Delk is doing a good job building his Little League program. Yeah. If you go online and look at their club, he's on the picture coaching those kids down at the Little League, and there's a reason for that. You know, they've got I think the F5 is a Mustang program now that's kind of sits between Tuttle and there. A lot of those kids have a potential of going to Mustang instead of Tuttle, and that's the game, is especially at the younger age. Those coaches are, I say, recruiting loosely. They're jockeying to try to entice those kids, those families, because most of those wrestlers are going to have little brothers. Now they're going to have little sisters. They're going to have. So if they can provide a good opportunity for those kids, make them better, keep it fun, they have success. Well, now we're friends with all these people down here. We're going to go that way, and that's the game in wrestling that gets played at a young age. They're bringing those kids over.
Yeah, if I'm a stud wrestler and I'm in the new world transfer, I mean, you have to pick and choose carefully where you go, because you might not be good on that team, and if you go to that team, you're going to butt up against this guy at this weight from somewhere else. So you have to be, we've seen some people go from 6A down to 5A because they don't. If I'm a stud at School C, and I have no chance against Stillwater Edmond North, but if I go down to 5A, I might have a chance at whatever school.
Well, and I think look at programs like Tuttle and 4A. I mean, go in there and wrestle off. Go try to find yourself a spot. I mean, you better
you only get one transfer.
That's what I'm telling you. Well, I mean, that plays a role.
The way I look at that though too is like if let's say Phil has a son that's a freshman and I have a son that's a junior, and he wants his son to be a state champion to go to college, but the school he's at doesn't have. Maybe they don't see good competition. Maybe their coach isn't the coach I like, whatever. But he sees my kid and we wrestle in the summer, and let's say my kid's better. And so Phil says, you know what? I want little Johnny to go wrestle at that school so that for 2 years he can wrestle behind that kid, so that when his time comes, his junior year, he's a 2-time state champion, he gets to go to college.
I also think, though, and I could be dead wrong about this, but I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, so I'm going to do what I always do. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Upset some people.
See where it goes. Yeah.
Parents, I don't know a lot of kids that say, "Daddy, I want to go from my school to this school."
Right.
I mean, there's usually an adult behind this decision. Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of parents that, at least based on my experience of not just wrestling but other sports, that want to go see their kids set for 2 years behind somebody else, even though it might make them better. Your scenario you just described, everybody thinks their kid should be on the mat tomorrow, or on the field tomorrow, or on the court tomorrow, and it just yesterday. It just seems to be there's not that commitment. Now, this is a broad brush statement. I'm not saying there's not parents out there that would do this, because there are. Because I think what you just described is an ideal situation.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think a lot of people have the patience to do that. I just don't, based on what you see.
Right.
Right.
Well, and the other thing, going back to these Little League programs, I think honestly in the state, what I see at the top end, which is your high schools, your Tuttles, your Edmond Norths, your Stillwaters, what they all have in common is when I go to these Little League tournaments on the weekends, they have the best Little League teams.
They're hammers. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So these parents are seeing like, okay, I'm going to go to that club because they've got 4 or 5 kids that can hammer my kid, because by the time he gets to high school, he's going to be competitive, and I think that's where we are seeing transfers now. We're seeing them all over the place, and that's going to come because, like you said, they want to go now. But I think the biggest key to a lot of these dynasties that we're talking about, it's their Little League programs.
Yeah, no doubt.
4A real quick, just Bristow, Fort Gibson, Cache, and Cushing. Cushing has had a very good program over the years. Consistent. Very good system there. So it can let you know Bristow did get one first place votes in their Bristow, a very good program. Obviously beat Collinsville to begin the season. Also beat Fort Gibson, as you see on your screen there, 2 versus 3. Great matchup there. Did lose to Carl Albert. So lost to Coweta, and Carl Albert did Bristow. So they've seen the best of the best in 5A. It's just, it's just Tuttle's in a whole new world.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
All right, real quickly, 3A rankings here. Gym jumpers.
Gym jumpers.
I like that. I'm starting to get this wrestling lingo down good.
Gym jumpers.
I like that.
I'm going to get a shirt made with that.
That's pretty darn cool. Class 3A boys rankings. Number 1, the Blackwell Maroons. Number 2, Marlowe. Number 3, Pahuska. Number 4, Salina. Obviously, they're pretty good here as of late. And number 5, Perry Maroons. Of course, these are dual rankings. So, obviously, I don't know the guy's name. That was at Connsville, now at Salina. Went back to his where he's from.
West Hardin.
Yeah, West Hardin.
There you go. There you go.
Hardin.
No surprise to see them there. And so we obviously Blackwell defending state champions. Marlowe won it. Actually, Marlowe. It's been Blackwell, Marlowe, Blackwell, Marlowe.
Yeah, and Wes hit on it when he was talking about it earlier today when he was here, was talking about that duel, how loud those teams get.
Yeah.
The one thing about these smaller schools especially, but Blackwell and Marlowe specifically, is they're homegrown all their talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about, I'll say this about Blackwell, I love to hate that team. And it's because I love the way they wrestle, and I love the way their fans support them, and I love the diehard. Like, if I lived in Marlowe, if I lived in Blackwell, I'd love Blackwell. But boy, when we got to wrestle them, I hate them.
Yeah.
Because of how hard-nosed they are, how loud their crowd is. It's not fun to be on the other side of that, and that's what makes them so great. And Marlowe is no different. They are, they've homegrown these kids. Everyone knows these kids in their town. They travel well. They know their sport. And boy, when they get up against each other, it's some of the funnest wrestling you'll see in the state.
See Perry, number 5 in 3A.
It's crazy.
Still weird.
It's very weird.
Still weird.
Perry hadn't won a dual state tournament since 2019. Same year they won the state tournament back in 2019. Okay, got to ask you both of this question here because we've gone through the 4 boy classes. And we talk about 5A having the most conversations. But do you guys like the dynasties? Do you like Tuttle's winning 16 in a row or 17 in a row, whatever it may be? Blackwell, Marlowe, back and forth. And there's some good back and forth in that class. But Perry during their run, do you like the dynasties? And this might not necessarily be a wrestling question, but just in general. I can tell you, I go first. I like 5A because it's back and forth. 6A, you got 2 teams. 4A, you got 1 team. 3A, you might have a couple. I like the openness.
I respect dynasties.
Okay, yeah.
I
like Kansas City Chiefs. It's over. Great. Let's see somebody else.
Well,
it's awesome.
I think part of it is because, when you get a dynasty in wrestling, I think there's a distinction, right? I like dynasties in wrestling. Because they've earned every ounce of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've earned it. I don't, we talk about move-ins and stuff in different sports. Yeah, it happens in wrestling. I don't think it has the impact, as much of an impact overall. There's exceptions to that. But I think they've earned it. Most of these kids at Tuttle were Tuttle kids in the Little League room. They were Tuttle kids in junior. I mean, and I love that. I love that.
Yep.
So I love myself. I love me a little dynasty. I think it's cool.
1-1, Shawn.
I'm probably gonna have to split the fence here. I like Phil says, I love the dynasties. I do like my favorite team growing up was Iowa Hawkeyes. That's who and they were a dynasty. Dan Gable had so many wins, and so I was a super fan. Now Penn State, same kind of thing. A bit of a fanboy. What they're doing there, it's. As an individual that just watches, I love to see that. So there is a bit of a fanboy in me that those dynasties are what I'm a fan of. However, on the other side of it, I like to see when 2 dynasties are fighting.
Yes.
More so than I like to see the situation we have in 4A with Tuttle.
You get it maybe twice a year.
All the respect in the world to Tuttle. Yeah. All the respect in the world. And this isn't hating on them because if I'm them, keep winning. And if I'm a Tuttle fan, then there's no, but it's not as much fun as a fan sitting on the other side of that where, at least in 6A, we've got, the rivalry between Stillwater and Edmond North right now. It is awesome. I love it. It makes both those coaches uncomfortable if we talk about it, and that's what I love about it. about it, And same with Marlowe. I've got friends in Marlowe that the vitriol that they have, for Blackwell, it makes it a lot of fun, especially
absolutely.
when it comes down to that state tournament. I'm telling you, is so much fun. And I've been calling 5A, and I've got headsets on, and I'm trying to focus on this match. Meanwhile, there's chaos on 3A down here and 6A down here. It's so much fun to watch that. But, so I like it when there's parity. And then in 5A, it's a little bit more wide open where there hasn't been a dynasty in 5A in quite some time. And
Collinsville was the last one.
Yeah. It's cool. So. It's cool to say, like, okay, who's going to win? It's wide open. But I don't think it's as much fun as you have when you have two dynasties going head to head.
I see both sides.
Because that's, because both teams could win. Both teams are. And every year it just builds. Every year it builds. And so to me, I'm kind of in the middle. I like it, but I like it when there's competition for the dynasty.
I just want more of it. I want something big every week to look
at. But absolutely.
Think about how hard it is to run a dynasty. I mean, impossibly hard.
What Tuttle's doing is unheard of.
It's crazy.
Lindsay talking about Marlowe, hardcore, gritty, whistle to whistle.
Yep.
Infantry. I can only imagine this world. He brings up Tuttle and Blanchard. There's other scenarios out there as well. Seems interchangeable at times at kiddo levels. I could not imagine the politics and the strategy of
that goes into that.
Of getting the third grader to come over here or the fourth grader to come over here. Because oh my gosh.
I can tell you exactly how it works, and I'm sure that infantry understands this. The Tuttle kid walks off the mat after a big win over Blanchard. Wow, that was great. You're such a tough kid, blah, blah, blah. And they immediately go talk to mom and dad. Mom and dad are the ones you got to sell. We see it every week.
Dad, where do you work?
See it every week.
Do you like that line of work?
It is. It's thick, and it happens at Matt's side. Yeah. And it's, hey, you should come wrestle over with us. We've got a bunch of kids your age. Come over tomorrow. We got a practice going on.
Yeah.
And it starts, and it lays thick, and it happens every single weekend.
Yeah.
And it happens in all sports.
Oh, it does.
I mean, it happens at Little League baseball games too.
Yeah,
so I was like, I'm kind of like Phil. I'm kind of like I'm now I'm out of that. I got my youngest is 16, so I'm out of that phase now.
The world, yeah.
Thank goodness. I don't even I don't know what goes on. Probably. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some that do it the right way.
Oh, no. Yeah, there are.
Not putting everybody in one broad stroke there.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Well, but on the flip side of that, though, like in all honesty, if there is a good wrestler, you want him practicing with your kid. And so you make that arrangement, and then you make friends. And then, of course, the coach isn't going to say, no, don't come over here. They're going to embrace that and make their team better. I mean, it's a natural progression. I'll just put it that way.
9-year-old little hammer wanting to come over.
Well, when you know what you're looking at, Phil.
That's right.
Sometimes it's like a piece of chocolate cake sitting out on the counter. Right. I got to at least try it.
Exactly.
All right, let's take our third and final timeout so we can come back and talk a little bit more. We're going to take a look at the girls' rankings quickly. Also take a look at some individuals as well. If you have any questions or comments, as this is our first show, we'll come back and it's kind of an introductory show like all our first shows are, but we'll kind of get into the flow of some big duels week in and week out. There's some, looks like some good tournament, one or two tournament coming up.
Yeah, coming up
this week.
Yeah, not this week's still kind of a dead week. There's a couple duels, but that following week, really, it's the pre to postseason coming up. It's all the teams are going to be hitting it hard. It's going to be a fun January.
So the shows coming on, we'll dive more into those and talk more about this. It's kind of not a preseason show. I guess it kind of is a preseason type show here on the High School. But we're going to take our third and final timeout and come back and have those girls rankings. Also, final thoughts here and your thoughts and questions as well. This is the High School Huddle.
What do you think you're doing?
You said we need new windows, and you're not calling Red River.
Okay.
If you're gonna throw money out the window but not calling Red River.
Okay, I get it. I'll call Red River. Where did he get all this money?
Are you ready to secure your legacy? At Black Oak Alliance, we understand that your hard work has built a future for yourself and your family. Our team of expert advisors is here to guide you through estate planning, helping you protect your assets, minimize taxes, and ensure your family's financial security. Black Oak Alliance has the experience and expertise to tailor a plan just for you. Schedule a no-cost consultation today. Visit us online at blackoakalliance.com or 405-724-6328. Black Oak Alliance, protecting your legacy.
At Mosquito and Pest Authority, our job is to keep you pest-free. Our signature mosquito control service and pest-proof barrier 360 service ensures that you aren't bothered by mosquitoes outside or pests inside. That's right, 2 brands, 2 services, only 1 visit needed. Don't believe us? We guarantee it, or we'll come back at no charge to you. No mosquitoes, no pests, no contracts, guaranteed. Call Ronnie and Sarah Phillips today at 405-916-0471.
For centuries, it was a windswept prairie until the run of '89 saw settlers scramble for land and life in a newborn town as Oklahoma's territorial capital, Guthrie. Bank First is loyal to the preservation movement that reclaimed Oklahoma's first state capital. And we're loyal to the banking legacy born at the corner of First and Oklahoma streets. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back. Final segment here on the High School Huddle. Appreciate everyone dropping by, catch us on the live show. I know a lot of people catch the replay. A lot of people do that, and we appreciate that as well. If you can share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, we appreciate that. They say that helps with the algorithm. I don't know, but we're also on the TikTok, the Facebook, all those social media platforms, Twitter. We ask that you subscribe, like that, anything, just to build the audience. I think this will get more and more as we get going. When you start something fresh, It takes a little while to get going. We've had a great audience already here tonight for our first show, so we just ask that you share that. And again, we'll have more people on throughout the entire season, so it's going to be a busy January and a busy February, and we're getting started, and it's going to go so fast. We're going to be talking about state championships and here in just a few weeks, so obviously very, very cool time. Real quickly, before we get into some individuals, let's take a look at our girls' rankings here, and this is the Class 6A girls. And Broken Arrow, again, they've been steady ever since girls wrestling has come on board. Broken Arrow, number 1. Bixby, number 2. So you got 2 East Side schools leading the way right now. Westmore, number 3. Stillwater, number 4. And Union is at number 5. Obviously, these are tournament rankings because there are no duels in girls at this time. We talked with Wes Ruth about that. Yeah, and still not sure when it's coming on board. It sounds like it might be maybe 2 years at minimum away.
We were trying to put his feet to the fire, but he didn't want it. And the girls are having duels. There are individual duels that the girls are having. Dual state. There's just no dual state for that. So, which is understandable. You know, you want to do it right. You want to have a good tournament. But I know just from the girls coaches I have talked to, they want that. They definitely want that. So.
Class 5A girls rankings. It's always weird to see 5A. In your traditional sports, not a
Little Axe.
But McLeod, number 1, boy, they got a great program going on right now. Number 2, Ulaga Talala. Number 3, Little Axe. McLeod, Little Axe, back and forth over the last couple of seasons. Hera at number 4. They had a good one leave, though, headed over to Bixby. And at number 5 is the Tuttle Lady Tigers. Those are your Class 5A girl rankings. And Lindsay brings up, speaking of girls wrestling, I just read where Bishop Kelly is requesting help to consider if they should add a girls wrestling team. Their boys coach Kyle McGill has done a great job coaching there. And I think what Lindsay said, I think that's going on a lot of places.
Yeah, I know. You know, we started a girls wrestling program here in Guthrie a couple of years ago. And the one thing that we found was that we did have some girls wrestling that had wrestled before with the boys, and we had 3, and one really struggled to make it to practice every day just because it's a brutal sport, especially to do with boys. But the moment that Levi Casey stepped up and took the girls to their own practice, to their own tournaments, we had 20 girls on the mat. Just there's a lot of need for that. There's a lot of girls that don't participate in other sports that will come out and do wrestling. If it's for the girls, if they don't have that stigma, they don't want to go get beat up by boys. They don't want to, they're curious. And I think that it's even more so if there are some girls that already wrestle, they can get their friends to come out. Cause like Wes said, there's not a lot going on for girls sports in the wintertime and
swimming and basketball.
And really,
I think that's right.
It's for all body types and all sizes.
Yes. Yep.
That's what's, for guys that there's limitations with their body types, and wrestling kind of covers them all. It's the same with girls. It's a sport where everyone can find success. Yeah. And that's what's so good about adding girls. So yeah, if I'm the Bishop Kelly request, I would definitely advocate that, yes, start that program. I don't care if there's 3 girls that sign up, start that program, give them a place, use those girls that want to wrestle, use them to bring their friends, have them come to practice, try it out for a week, come see what it's about, have some fun, build a culture for those girls to be a part. Because I know just in a year here in Guthrie, there's a culture now that didn't exist last year. I mean, and it's a girl culture. It's different than the boys, but it's there, and it's been a great thing for those girls to get to be a part of.
Yeah.
A few names that I got down on the girls' side of things. The Trout girl over at McLeod, she's a returning 5A champion at 115 pounds. Also over at McLeod is Carly Cisco. She's a 5A champion at 100 pounds. The Westmore twin sisters, the Perez sisters, each won a state championship last year. There's some names to watch out for this year. Claire Lancaster, over a sophomore over at Norman. She finished second last year at 120 pounds. She went 37.5 last year. Another name that I have down, Serenity High, a senior at Dell City. She's a returning champion at 155 pounds. She was 15-1. A year ago. The Goodner girl over at Pump City, she's a junior. She has 2 state titles, so now we're getting closer to that.
Yeah.
I think the one girl, a 4-time state champion, I think was from Broken Arrow.
I believe that's right.
When Clea Kirk was going on, I think she beat her in the first year that they had wrestling, but it wasn't.
It was that trial year.
Yeah. And then the Cannon girl over at Piedmont, 6A state champion from 145 pounds. She was 43-3. Some of the names I have down on my list.
The twins you were talking about. I always say that's the beat-in cheat code for wrestling is to have a twin.
No doubt.
Because you will always have someone your size, your age, your weight to practice with. And so
then they're both outstanding.
Yeah, and then seeing those two. Well, there's no they're going to be, they're going to be as good as the other. They're going to push each other. It's a great combo. Whenever you see twins wrestling, it's no surprise that they're successful.
Well, we haven't talked about tonight, Shawn, you know this, a room makes the difference. You got to have, that's also, Chris, why these great programs seem to just continue to get better, because you got kids you can work out with in the room and get better.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just beating the daylights out of each other every day. You want to go to a tournament, Chris, you get a break.
That's true.
I only got to wrestle 2 kids today.
Oh, this is better.
Just to real quickly, Broken Arrow 6A girls state champions and McLeod 5A state champions. So last year's state champions are the #1 teams right now. Bixby, a very powerhouse in girls wrestling as well.
Yeah, and that Bixby
and Union and Broken Arrow.
Yeah, that Bixby Broken Arrow. I don't know if it's called a rivalry yet, but those 2 teams are kind of neck and neck. That ought to be fun at the state tournament. There's probably going to be a lot of those girls in the finals.
Lindsay says Keisha Cathy was from Broken Arrow, 3-time state champion. Okay, that's who I didn't know the name, but I remember her for sure. Yeah. So thank you, Lindsay, for that reminder. Best wrestler in the state of Oklahoma is?
I think it's the kid from North going to Cornell would be my guess.
Joe Jeter?
Yeah, Jeter. That would be my pick. In the way too early.
Until state champion.
Until I believe he was on a world team 17U.
Yeah. Is that right?
I think so. You may double check me on that. I haven't been out too much yet this year.
Right.
Without putting my eyes on anyone, I'd say on paper he looks good, but I'm gonna let Phil die on that hill, because I know Edmund North's got some good kids. I'm gonna get to watch him wrestle this year. Turner Ross is another one that could be fun to watch.
Edmund North, Turner Ross, he's committed to Illinois. He won the state title over in Minnesota. Yeah. I think it was his freshman year. 36-2 last year. He's the returning 106 champion, I think 106. So he's going for #3 in 3 years.
Yeah, he's
one in Minnesota.
Jeter's #7 in the nation right now. Or this past year was number 7 in the nation at 57. and was on the U17 World Team. So,
and he's a senior this year?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a college weight as well.
Yeah.
So I can imagine he's getting a lot of partners at a higher level as well.
Another name over at Edmond North, Tommy Variette. He's also signed with Cornell. He's the 6A defending champion at 138 pounds. We mentioned Turner Ross already. So,
Jeter's number 1 at 75 right now in the nation. So, just won the Ironman. So, yeah, he gets my vote.
Yeah, Cornell.
That's a good vote, Phil.
It's a good vote. Safe vote.
Yeah. Of course, if you talk, you got to bring up some Stillwater guys as well. Jaden Adams, the running back. Yeah. Won it as a freshman. He beat the kid from Edmond North last year. A little bit of a surprise, I think, right? 11-5, I think it was.
It was an upset for sure, but
yeah.
I mean, he probably wasn't surprised.
Yeah, and he's a sophomore, had a good football season. He's coming back for the Stillwater Pioneers. Yeah, absolutely, really tough kid. Yeah. Some other names that I have down. The Addie mentioned earlier, the girl that won state for Hera, Addie Morse. Now at Bixby, she made the move over to Bixby. I don't think that's a transfer. I'm probably a move in. I don't think she's living in Herod. I guess you could take online classes and just go. Yeah, probably not.
Long way
she
to go
probably moved in.
Yeah,
probably moved in. So, Cash over at Chickasha, defending 5A champion at 106 pounds, 40-3 a year ago. Tuttle kid Chance Fisher, 43-6, 132 pound state champion from a year ago. Kid from UConn, pretty good football player, 6A runner-up in Lujan kid, 35-4 at 215. So some of the names that I have.
And I would throw in Ritson Myers going for his 4th state title this year from Elgin.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we were talking about him before. We talked a little about him last week when we were together. You say, yeah, you look at him, you see kids maybe that have, he's a 3-time state champion, and you look at him and you go, yeah, I think it really comes down to the fact that he just hates losing at anything he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's that real competitor. So I'd throw Ritson in that group that are kids. Anytime you're going for your 4th state title, you got to be talked about.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure there's some Blackwell kids that might be on that list.
Maybe a couple.
Maybe a few more Tuttle on there as well, but just some of the names that I.
We'll get to all of you before the season's over.
Absolutely. So, all right. Final thoughts here. I think we went over our rankings, all the players. Big thank you to Wes Ruth again,
thanks,
OSSAA, for dropping by. We'll make that a separate podcast by itself.
I think the big thing for me is just for those that are watching, let people know about the show. We're here to promote the kids and the programs and hopefully entertain you a little bit, have some fun, have some laughs. Talk about wrestling needs to be fun. We believe that here as well. You got to have a little bit of fun and hopefully do our part to try to get these kids out there, and not just listen, the Jeter kids, everybody knows about him. We're talking about those kids, those Oklahoma kids that maybe aren't as well known, that aren't on those U17 teams. I want those kids to be talked about and have opportunities to be on the high school level if they choose to have them. But, let people know about the show, help us spread the word, like and subscribe. That helps us in a big way.
Absolutely. If you have a photo that you want to submit, email us, highschoolhuddle@gmail.com. That's the email.
I mean, all our Twitter handles and stuff are down there as well. Reach out to us, interact. We want to interact even if it's not on the podcast. Just there's more kids than we get information on. Not wrestling isn't like football. It's not everywhere. It's not everyone covers it. So there's a lot of kids we don't know about. There's a lot of big matchups that come up that we don't know about. We try to keep up. We do what we can, but we also got day jobs. So we're trying our best to do our best to promote this sport. But again, like Chris was saying earlier, this podcast is supposed to be interactive so that we can all kind of help push this sport to the next level.
I just want the CEO, your wife, to be happy. I'm scared of her. Lindsay scares me.
She's sweet. She's sweet.
No, she scares me a little bit.
How do you spell her name?
I don't. CEO. She's the boss.
All right, that'll do it here on the first show of the High School Huddle Wrestling Edition. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did, and I know a lot of people will check the replay. So be sure to check back with us next Monday night. See who our guests are. And once we get them lined up, we'll put them on our social media accounts. And so if you have any questions for them, put them in, and it'll be a fun show. So spread the word. We're going to be here all season long. Hope you enjoyed it. For Shawn, Silvis, Phil Nichols, I'm Chris Evans. We'll talk to you next Monday night here on the High School Huddle.